Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. How's it going, Jeff?
Good man. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Busy week. Um,
Yeah.
you know, Halloween weekend. How was your Halloween?
Kind of depressing, dude. Like I was all excited back in New England, the fall, perfect weather. Not one trick-or-treater.
Really?
Not one. I have a giant bag of Reese's that I've slowly been
You
working on for
you get it
like the
like you
last
have diabetes now.
pretty much. Like I was all excited. I had a bowl out and everything. Like saw kids walking around as I was driving home from work, and I had some Halloween marathon playing in the background. I watched three of the worst Halloween movies, but
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah, I think it was six, H2O, and Resurrection.
Yeah, those are not the good ones.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think H2O is the standout there too, which is really saying something.
yeah.
But other than that, it was great. It was a fun October. I did my 31 days of horror, and I had a good time talking to everyone on Instagram about horror movies, like I do every October. So that aspect of it was fun. A little disappointed with no trick-or-treaters, but what are you gonna do?
We had a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any last year, but we got two groups. We had one had two kids in it, and the other group had four. So, and that was it. And that was the end of the evening. So, but we watched Halloween 1, 2, and 3 on Halloween night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the solid. Well, one and three. Two is okay.
I like 2.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's kind, I deal with 2. Like I like watching 1 right into 2, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And 3, I've always really been a big champion for 3, man. I always thought 3 was really good.
I just had this conversation. My friend with the Instagram handle Horror Binge Chronicles, he also does a horror movie a day in October and writes a full review on Instagram. And we talked briefly about Halloween 3, and I said that movie went from being severely underrated to kind of overrated. Like
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad I got a reassessment. It is a good movie. If you called it Season of the Witch, people would view it very differently. But now people are sort of claiming that it's some kind of masterpiece, and
well, I mean,
I wouldn't go that far.
I definitely would not go that far. I remember when I saw it for the first time when I was a kid, I really enjoyed it. And
Oh, really?
yeah, because like I would, as a kid, I'm like, where's Michael Myers? But then I was like, oh wait, this is something different. And I was like, this is still pretty cool, like with the
Oh,
masks and, fucking, I thought it was a good movie. And then like as later on, people were telling me that it was a bad film, that it wasn't good. And I'm like, yeah, fuck Halloween 3, But then like
yeah.
a couple years after that, I was like, you know what, man, it actually is really good. It's the story's cool. It's got Tom Atkins in it, who I love. I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah, he's
And
great.
yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, it fits. And I love the poster for Halloween 3.
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. Like that was like a video store classic for me. Like that always will remember that image walking into the video store and seeing that.
Yeah, I got to see I have to get a print of that to hang up here, for sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, a couple things I wanted to highlight of things I checked out in my horror movie a day. Um, did you see Night of the Reaper on Shudder?
I haven't watched that yet.
Hmm.
What do you
Might be
think?
worth.
What?
I was not a fan of it, but it might be worth talking about.
Okay.
Very well received from the horror community. Was not crazy about it, but I'd be willing to give it another look. And
It's on my radar for sure though.
yeah, and I closed out my 31 days of horror. I usually save like Halloween for like The Wicker Man, Kill List,
Oh
Woman in
yeah.
Black. Like I watched The Conjuring 1 and 2 because it'd been like a decade since I've seen the first one at least, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a fair shake. I was not a huge fan of it, and I think I liked it less this time around.
I watched, when the final movie came out earlier this year, I watched the entire universe leading up to
Yeah.
the release of that film. So I kind of liked him, I thought, and I thought the new movie was actually really good too. I mean, it's not, it's entertaining, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, Conjuring 1 definitely and 2 has some like great set pieces. James Wan can craft a good scare. There's no question about it. He just always seems to indulge his worst tendencies in the third act, where his movies just completely fly off the rails.
Yeah.
And The Conjuring could have been a cool, quiet, spooky little movie, but it turns into this loud exorcism film. And basically the second one too, where the Warrens are like the fucking Catholic Avengers or something. Like
Yeah.
it got really goofy to me. And I got some comments in my Instagram inbox saying like, oh, I was wrong. These are the scariest movies ever. And I'm glad people like them. I guess it's just it doesn't do it for me.
That's cool. I mean, I wouldn't put him on like my favorite list, but I had fun watching those and we had a good time going to the new movie and saw it in the theater. So,
That must have been fun.
yeah, that was fun.
I also got a bunch of comments telling me I oversold Kill List.
Oh,
Everyone,
come on, dude. Really? That
yeah,
movie's either you like it or you don't. It's like it's not for, I mean, that movie's not for everybody. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, of course not. But I mean, anyone who will listen, I say this is the best horror film in the last 25 years, and
Yeah.
no one ever agrees with me.
I
um,
mean, it, yeah, it's just not for everybody. There's certain movies that I love that I just know it's not for everyone. I personally love that movie. I think it's great. I rewatch it, every few months I'll put it on. I rewatched it during Halloween season.
yeah, yeah, me too. Yeah, I absolutely love that film. I've seen it probably 10 times now. Every time I discover something new to love about it.
And it's more of like an atmospheric movie, really.
That's what I love about it. It's really a tone with like a banger of an ending. Like a lot of times, like you feel like you're not even watching a horror film.
Yeah.
Like my friend described it as a Guy Ritchie-esque horror movie, which I completely disagreed with.
Well,
I don't.
I'll go one step further. The movie itself reminds me of a Joel Lane short story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Joel Lane is this writer. He passed away probably about 15, 20 years ago, maybe. And
Yeah.
like he's British. I think he's from Birmingham. And he's a horror writer, a weird fiction writer, but his some of his short stories, there's almost nothing supernatural going on. They just are unsettling and weird.
Right. Almost like Legatti-esque in that way.
Very much like that. And then they drop some stuff in there, and then like kind of like Kill List too. Like Kill List is like mostly just a story about these two guys who are, assassins, you know what I mean, and their relationship with that one guy's relationship with his wife, and that's kind of like Joel Lane stories are like that. And then I gotta let the cat out. Sorry, guys. You hear that, mother? You hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that.
Your, your your cat is protesting our thoughts on Kill List as well.
He was like so keen to come in here, right? He was out on the other side of the door closed, and he's like, "Meow." And then I'm like, all right, come on in. And he came in, sat on my lap, was like, going wild on the desk here. Like he looked at one point I thought he was going to shut my computer off. And then he went to peace out.
Dude, cats are assholes, man.
Yeah. That's his style, It's how he is.
But yeah, it was a fun Halloween. And since we always talk music on this podcast, I rediscovered my love for the band Interpol.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, of course.
Like going back to those first two records, I've listened to them each like 5 times in the last couple days. Remembering back in 2002 when their first record came out and how like it just completely blew me away. It might be one of the last like new bands to come out that I was like, this is it, man. This is like this is something great. This is a sound I hear in my head, and here it is.
I could see that. I didn't like that when I first heard him. I remember this girl I knew from Seattle was like trying to like sell them on me, And she was like would make me these like back then when you burned like CDRs.
Totally.
Yeah, she would send me like CDRs that she made in the mail. And
Oh, wow.
and I was like, this shit's all right, like I was like, what's this band? And she's like, oh, I think you'd like them because they sound like Joy Division, and I know you love Joy Division. And I was just like, oh, yeah, these guys are all right. And but
Yeah.
it grew on me over time though.
Yeah, like we put out Oceanic around the time they put out Turn on the Bright Lights. Both bands' names started with I, so I would see their album reviewed next to ours in a few things. Yes, I read my own reviews. Everyone does it. No one admits to it. Uh, and they mentioned, I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. And I came home one day and my roommate was listening to it. And I immediately went out to Newberry Comics and bought the CD like right away and was kind of hooked ever since. Like, then they lost me around 2007. I remember around 2006, 2007, a lot of bands who were, on the cusp of something big kind of put out records that were a little like underwhelming, and they were one of them.
Yeah.
And it was never quite the same with that band and me ever again until recently. I've sort of been reassessing like the later albums and giving them I don't know, just giving them a re-listen, and I've really enjoyed what I hear. I do see a progression of where they started and where they are now.
I could see like there's like one or two good songs on all their albums though, even the ones that are so-so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the first two are perfect.
They're
Like,
solid. I once I got over it, I started like really appreciating those records.
yeah, everything after that was like real shaky, but like listening to them again, like there's some really good stuff on here.
Yeah, totally, man. They're on like pretty regular rotation around here, with me.
Nice.
I go through the different records. I like more I know you don't like Marauder, but I actually like that record.
Yeah, well, I'm like I said, I've been listening to it more. Like I think I listened to it once when it came out and sort of put it like forgot about it. But listening to it now, I can see it. I see it now. I see what you were saying about the record. It's good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for me, there's been a few bands over the last 10 years, 15 years that I thought are great, like non-metal bands, like bands that I probably talk about regularly, but sort of in that rock, world, I would say Bambara is a band that I think is amazing.
Yes, you turned me on
Um,
to them.
I've had them on Everything Went Black twice actually, and just like a solid band. If you great players, and if you're into like Nick Cave and the Birthday Party and Jesus Lizard and all that good, and now actually their newer stuff is departing from that too. But those guys
Really?
are like they're well, you guys should go out and listen to the episode I did with those guys because I was we kind of at this point we're pretty friendly, so the conversations were like very very casual at this point, but yeah, there's like they like all the good stuff, you know what I mean? Swans, like Roland Howard, the Birthday Party, Bad Seeds, and then other stuff too. But like, and they just seem like those guys are all in their 30s, but they just seem like old souls. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, like they seem like they're a band that was active in the 90s, but they're just young guys though still. It's funny.
Yeah, it is. It's funny how sometimes you'll hear a band and you picture what them in your head, and then you see them, and you're like, oh, these guys are fucking kids.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Like if you told me they were like Australian and they came from like then they were from like, Adelaide in like 1994 or something like that, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, of course." But no, they're like
Right.
these like young dudes who, are originally from Georgia.
Yeah, hey, good. It's good to know people are, the generation or two before us are still getting interested in good music and putting out stuff that's worth listening to.
The funniest thing about them too is they like all the same movies that we like too. It's like they Blaze, the drummer, dropped a movie out of complete obscurity that it's called Zondali, which is like it's on Tubi right now. It's a super obscure like Nicolas Cage film from like the either the late 80s or like the early 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it
I know
takes
what you're
place in
talking
New
about. Yeah.
Orleans. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And this guy just dropped it out of the blue, and we spent like half of the episode talking about that movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, how do you and then like I don't even know where I could watch this. And then the bass player, he just pulls his phone up and he says it's on Tubi and he shows it on the screen. And I was like, oh, there it is.
Dude, thank God for fucking Tubi, man. Like the most obscure random shit is on there.
They get wild too, man. There's all sorts of wild stuff on Tubi.
Yeah, like that Freddy's Nightmare show is on there. Remember that?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah.
I hadn't seen that since I was, I don't know, like 10 years old. It was a it's not good, but
No, 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 no.
it was cool to see that again. You know, it'd been so long, man, like 40, almost 40 years since I've seen it.
Yeah. Um, right on, man. So I didn't really check out stuff that's worth mentioning, just the regular shit, you know what I mean?
Right on.
Like but the Halloween movies I watched on Halloween,
Yeah.
I watched Kill List, which I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago. And like,
Yeah.
but so let's do the rundown of the guys,
Yes.
right, before
Yes.
we get too deeply into this thing here. So if you guys are listening to this, you also are listening to most likely the other podcasts brought to you by the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse. So, kicking things off every other Monday, we have Brandon Legion's Horror Wolf 666. Up next on Tuesday, we have Jackie Smith's Into the Necrosphere, the finest extreme metal podcast in the land. And I recently was on there as a guest, so that makes it even cooler, I guess. um, Wednesday is a day of double shots. We've got Everything Went Black as well as Iblis Manifestations. Thursday is Necro Thursday, which you get the Necromaniacs horror podcast, as well as day one of Soul Knox, brought to you by Carl Hycara. Friday brings us Spitball Media, an irreverent pop culture podcast. Sometimes what we talk about, what they talk about intersects, but they cover a little bit wider bandwidth than we do of other types of films, like pro wrestling, the
Hmm.
occasional sports episode, like that kind of thing. Saturday is a day off. We are staring into the cold eyes of winter right now. So winter is right around the corner. So go out and get yourself a nice heavy jacket, some black gloves, something like that. Maybe a balaclava, for the oncoming season. Because on Sunday, Carl Hycara returns with Soul Knox Day 2 for all things dark, sinister, and macabre. And that's it. That's the Horseman of the Podcasting Apocalypse.
I was just listening to Brandon Legion this morning. He had Steve Von Till on
Yep.
his podcast. That was a
That
great
that was
episode.
that was a fine episode.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Steve's a very interesting guy.
Yeah, I enjoyed speaking with that guy too. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, you must have interviewed him or crossed paths at some
Uh,
point.
both. We've played with Neurosis a number of times, and also I interviewed Steve for the Holy Mountain print magazine. So
That's right.
yeah, that's only in print. You can't read it anywhere but in the print, so of that magazine. So it's like it's kind of cool, but also kind of not cool because like, if you don't have the magazine, you don't get a chance to read the interview.
It's old school, man.
Yep.
And I really enjoy Steve's solo music.
Yeah,
I thought his
the
last
Harvest
record was
Man
good.
stuff. I enjoy all like his solo stuff and the Harvest Man stuff. I think is really cool.
It's very much what I would expect to come from Steve. That's the best way I can put it. And that's a compliment.
Yeah. Definitely definitely a very, very cool episode.
Yeah,
We have a caller this week.
we
So
do.
let's hit that. So if you want to call us on the Necro phone, it's 908-913-0782. 908-913-0782. And we've got Zane from Phoenix.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? This is Zane from Phoenix. I've been really digging what you guys have been putting out lately. Um, Got to talk about Strangeland. That came out, I think I was in junior high, and I had a copy of it. And I went to a Mormon charter school, so things like that were very rare, but I think it made its rounds through the school. And ended up getting my locker raided and taken out. But yeah, horrible movie, but still kind of fun to watch. Um, there's a couple movies that I feel kind of up your alley right now. There's a movie called Samurai Reincarnation, and it's by the guy who did Battle Royale. It was I think mid '80s. Kind of blends the samurai horror psychedelic kind of feel to it. Really good stuff. Also, I kind of talked to you about it on Instagram a few weeks ago, but there's an app called Eternal Family, and it's basically just all like overlooked, surreal, artsy short films, and there's a lot of longer films also. But man, it's just gold every time I get on there. Things I've never even heard of. I feel like there's a lot of good material for you guys on there. Also, you guys were talking about Disney movies, kind of like overlooked Disney horror films from back in the day. And there was one that I remember watching as a kid. We used to rent it when we would go up to our cabin every summer. It's called Watcher in the Woods, and it has Betty Davis in it. And I mean, from what I remember, I haven't watched it in years, but it scared the hell out of me. And looking it up, there are definitely some parts of it that make it kind of shocking that it's a Disney movie. Kind of about like a seance that goes wrong in the woods. Um, and the last thing, a movie called The Last Matinee. It's like a newer Giallo movie. Pretty fun, low budget, kind of a under the radar thing, but really enjoyed it. Anyways, really like what you guys are doing. The Horsemen set my week up. Constantly have you guys playing. Loving the new Tunes album. Hope to see you guys tour soon. Anyways, keep it up, guys. Appreciate you. Bye.
Thanks for calling, Zane. Yeah, that's kind of a harrowing story about Strangeland and the Mormon charter school. Uh,
Yeah.
like it's like pushing the envelope, man. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And have you seen Watcher in the Woods, the film you mentioned?
The Betty Davis film that Disney did.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's like I saw that like aeons ago, but I haven't seen it recently.
No, I hadn't either, but it was a trip to hear that again. I hadn't thought about that movie in quite a long time.
Yeah, I love when like you know these blasts from the past titles come at us because it makes me want to go back and rewatch all that stuff.
Yeah, totally. You and Mike were talking about something wicked this way come. That was like a HBO staple when I was a kid, you
Yeah,
know?
yep, I remember that.
And haven't seen it since. And it kind of reminded me Disney at a point was they did have like a they do have a dark movie or two in their back catalog.
Oh yeah, totally, man. Like this is one of them, The Watcher in the Woods. I mean, I gotta find that. It's probably on the Disney app, I imagine, but I don't subscribe to Disney, so maybe I can
No,
find
I
it.
don't either. And like it reminds me that I have to watch Black Hole and it's been like 20
Oh,
years since I've seen it. I loved that
oh
when I
yeah,
was a kid. So dark.
yeah. Samurai Reincarnation is something I've heard about, but I haven't seen. I have seen Battle Royale, and the
Mm,
filmmaker's name is Kinji Fukasaku. Yeah, Battle Royale is a classic. There
hell
was like
yeah.
that early 21st century, explosion of Japanese films that hit the shores over here, and that was part of that cachet of movies that I watched back then.
Very influential film.
That app, the Eternal Family, I checked it out, man. I did not sign up for it. I just kind of ran. I remember hearing about that when you mentioned it, and I actually might subscribe to that. It's got a ton of like stuff on there. Some of it you could find on like Shudder and other places too, but um, there's also a ton of like martial arts films on there, which
Oh,
If you have the Arrow app, they have a ton of martial arts movies too. But the one thing I did notice, it had Beyond the Darkness on there, which is a pretty good film I haven't seen in a while. A lot of Argento, a lot of other Italian movies, like that kind of stuff.
awesome.
Yeah. And one last thing. Oh, you got The Last Matinee. I saw that on Shutter, man, and I wanted to do an episode on it, but I got sort of like downvoted.
By me?
No, not by you. I don't. It's just one of those things. You know how like I'll mention a movie in a thread and like no one will respond, or like tonight's episode where I'll send you guys a screener and no one says they want to watch it. You know,
Yeah, well, I check my email like once a year or so.
that was one of them. But I think maybe we should revisit it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know me. I'm down for whatever.
yeah. And thanks, Zane. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for the support with Tombs. That band has been in my life for almost 2 decades, man, and I really appreciate that. And also just listening to the other Horsemen, man. That's we've got a really cool thing going here, and I'm happy that people are enjoying it.
Yeah, people are I'm seeing a lot of positive reactions to your new record.
That's comforting for sure. And I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone who enjoyed it. And yeah, it's nice. You know how it is, Jeff, when you make a record and you're like uh, you're afraid to put it out.
Oh, totally. I know what it's like to put out a record and people don't like it. And it sucks. What do
Yeah.
but when it's nice when you like, I believe in this. You put it out there and people are like, hey, I believe in it too. It's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
No, it's very, I appreciate all that, man. I really do. And I put a lot of work into this stuff and it's nice that people appreciate it. And thanks. Thanks, Zane. I appreciate it. Maybe I'll see you in Phoenix sometime, hopefully next year.
Nice.
Yeah. So that brings us to this week's feature film, Strange Harvest,
Hmm.
written, directed, and edited by Stuart Ortiz, who brought us the Grave Encounters films. Have you seen those?
I saw there's two, I think, or like I've
Yeah.
seen two. There might be more. First one was surprised to say it was really good. I don't really remember the second one. I remember not being so hot on it, but the first one was very effective, I thought. Very good movie.
I thought, yeah, I enjoyed the first one. It was cool. It's interesting that this is the thing he made after doing those movies because
Yeah,
it kind of builds on some of his technique that I think, and we can get into some of that.
absolutely. Long gap too between films.
Yeah, yeah. This let's see. This came out this year actually. This Strange Harvest is being released now actually. This we got this as an advance. Well, all right. Technically, it came out September 22nd, 2024 at Fantastic Fest.
Yes.
And then it was released in the United States August 8th on 2025. And it's 95 minutes. I don't know why there was like an embargo on doing press on this. It came like later. Like they were like, you can't release this episode until a certain date and oh, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's out there. I believe you can rent it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you can rent. Um, check out the budget on this, man. Actually, where did I write the budget down? I don't have the budget. That's funny. All right, it's 95 minutes long. I thought I'd remember reading something about the budget, but whatever.
It was a low budget, I do know that.
Super, super low budget, but we'll get to how that kind of works in its favor in some ways.
Right. I was gonna say it doesn't feel super low budget at all.
No, no. Um, we'll just go through the main characters here. There's really it boils down to you know, Peter Zizzo as Detective Joe Kirby, Terry Apple as Detective Alexis Lexi Taylor. They're pretty much driving the story forward. And
Oh
then we
yeah.
have Jesse J. Clarkson as Leslie Sykes, aka Mr. Shiny. Jesse
Great
J.
name.
Clarkson, man, he sounds like a serial killer name.
Yeah, he does. He's got the look down. He was
Yeah,
cast well.
very yeah, real scary looking dude.
Agreed.
Yeah. So this is a it was a very effective mockumentary, and it was told in the way that like if you're into what's very popular now is true crime.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
tons of like movies and shows, and I think Netflix is like a big true crime um platform.
Yeah, I think that's all they show now.
Yeah, it's like that they're big into that. And this really is put together like a true crime documentary, and it also incorporates some found footage stuff, which, is kind of his calling card from the Grave Encounters series that he did.
Yeah, it's a lot of entry level horror filmmakings. You start in like the found footage genre, and I found immediately he sets himself like at the top of the pack when I saw Grave Encounters, because at that
Yeah.
point there was a new found footage movie every week, and it was all kind of getting monotonous. But that one really stood out to me, as does this,
Yeah.
which is it's a little bit different. A mockumentary and found footage is not quite the same thing.
Well, this one really kind of like takes it into a really different like arena, where it's still, Grave Encounters was a supernatural film, and this is a cosmic horror story,
Yeah,
sort of, yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah. You
wrapped in a serial killer story.
wrapped in a mockumentary.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's there's like it's like layers of an onion with this whole thing. So, a lot of the story is told through interviews with the two detectives, Joe Kirby and Lexi Taylor.
yes, I have a lot to say about them.
Yeah, and they're recounting the Mr. Shiny case, and this is all taking place in the Inland Empire of California. Now, that's like San Bernardino, that area, right?
Yeah, I mean, I lived out in LA for like 16 years and spent very, very little time in the Inland Empire
We play
for a
we
reason.
we played in San Bernardino at that Ozfest meets Knotfest back in like I think like 2017 or something like
Oh my God, was there like a giant meth cloud over the stage?
that. uh, I'm not sure, but your friends Deftones played too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that checks out. Um, um, yeah, cool. I never really spent much time there. I've been through there, and it's weird how like you can go not too far out of LA and you feel like you're in a completely different world in the
Yeah,
Inland Empire. It's definitely its own thing,
absolutely. Yeah.
and smart to set something like this there. I thought that was a nice move.
So this takes place over a number of years, and so the first victim is they find this body. Um, Actually, wait, that's not the first victim. The first victim is the family
Yeah,
that's found in the house.
it's framed a little weird, I have to say, like the way it started, and I was a little wonky on the timeline, but yeah, go ahead.
All right, so the first victims that you encounter in the film is the Sheridan family, and they were murdered in their home, and they show this. There's like right away there's like spooky stuff. There's like a big symbol there that's drawn. There's they're sitting around the table. Their hands are taped together and like looks like they're praying. And it's like a very sort of sadistic method of murder where they have these like 5 gallon buckets in their feet and they just like the guy sliced their femoral artery and they just bled out basically over time.
Right, it has going, going, gone written on in levels on the bucket, like this much blood, you're starting to die, this much you're closer, and at this much, this level, you're dead.
What a horrible way to die, man.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of Seven a lot.
There's a lot of stuff that reminds me of Seven in this movie, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
some Fincherisms going on.
well, let's put it this way. There's like the big sort of influences in this movie is they're disparate influences. There's the Fincher movie Seven that you just mentioned, and the Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, some and a little bit of Lake Mungo too, I
Yeah, a little
thought.
bit of Lake Mungo.
Yeah,
Little Robert Bloch. There's some Robert Bloch references in this,
yeah,
and it's a very interesting collection of ideas that, for the most part, work. I think.
yeah. I mean, this has got to be the biggest surprise of the year. Like, Mike, like you mentioned earlier about, sending us a link and, obviously I didn't pay any attention to it
Yeah.
until it was time to watch this. I knew nothing about it. I did not know that it was a mockumentary at all. And yeah, funny thing happened. When I watched it, I was like, I'm probably not gonna like this.
Yeah.
Like, and about 10 minutes in, I was completely hooked. Like
Yeah.
I was watching a real true crime like documentary or podcast. Like I was all in. This movie, like, I really think for something like this to work, it's got to be believable.
Yes.
And at first, I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know that it's 100% believable. I think some performers are more convincing than others, but like 15 minutes in or so, I didn't care. I was all in.
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt too, because like when you know I first turned the screener on, I was like, oh, I don't know, man, like
Yeah, yeah.
but then like the same, man, like I by maybe 15 minutes, I was definitely like, okay, where's this going? And then the weird fiction part, the cosmic horror part hits like halfway through the movie.
Right. And that, yeah, again, it brought me further into something I was already deeply invested in.
Yeah, totally. And so what do you think? You said you had some thoughts about Kirby and Taylor, the detectives.
Yeah, well, the whole movie kind of is on their shoulders in a weird way.
Yeah.
Um, I thought they were the most believable part of the movie. These two actors did such a great job. I mean, there's not really a lot of room for character development in parts like this, but like I feel like I like knew these characters by the end, just their mannerisms, especially the female detective has this like been there, done that, whatever kind of attitude. It colors it so much. Like and it all boils down to their performances, man. They're really great in this. And they do a lot with something that like with not to say a lot with a little, but like I said, there's not a lot of room for character development. And I think they had these characters felt fleshed out. Like I can imagine the actors working on an entire backstory for these characters. It really felt lived in and believable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. They like I said, most of the story is told through, their interviews, the footage with them, talking about the case.
Yeah, I mean, if I ran into one of these people at the grocery store, I would like think, oh, that's the cops in the documentary I saw. Like they really, yeah, they did a really great job, I think.
Yeah. So th he takes periods of time off between murders. So like we were saying, I think the first one, the actual chronological first murder took place in 1993. And it's like a young woman, her dismembered corpse. They find this dismembered corpse, and then immediately after that, this old man is like bludgeoned to death in like his retirement home, like in his nursing home. And then there's a third victim. It's this young kid, Noah LaFone, who's abducted and found murdered in a bog. Okay, and his you know oddly enough, his liver is removed. So there's these like three crimes happen in pretty close chronological order. And one of the things I was thinking too is they're talking about these crimes, but there was no thread that seemed to connect them. They seemed to be unrelated completely.
Right. I think the first victim was a sex worker.
Yeah, that's right. She was young lady who was hit some hard times, living a sort of a wild lifestyle.
Yeah, she was a dope bitch, as her friend describes her in the interview.
So some of the dialogue I thought was a little hokey too, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought her whole aspect was a little less convincing, although a detail that the officer says like she was a sex worker and they didn't, murders like that didn't get a lot of attention, which is true
Yeah.
at the time. Um, But yeah, some of the dialogue was a little, whatever. But I gotta mention, like, metal is mentioned twice in this movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the cop was like, I wanted to play drums in a metal
yeah.
band.
That's right. The cop was like, yeah, he was talking about himself, that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it was like one of those I was like, I bet the actor totally threw that in. Like because again, he probably had this whole character like backstory fleshed out in his head. And I love that detail. I don't know that line really stood out to me.
You would, it's like you would love to think that these actors, the guy who played Kirby and the two actors who played Kirby and Taylor, like how like Matthew McConaughey when he played Rust Cole, he like wrote like 100-page document about his whole backstory
Yes.
to give him like context. I feel like the guy who played Kirby must have done something like that. Maybe not 100 pages. He might have wrote like a 20-page treatment about what this guy was all about, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. And the other officer too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she was very three-dimensional. They were both very three-dimensional characters.
They were. And literally they're just in a warehouse talking about this specific case, but you get a lot you get a lot from those performances.
So I want to bring this up too. So most of it is done through dialogue, the
Yes.
storytelling, okay, which checks a box with me, okay? And the special effects that you see are all staged through like crime photos.
Yes.
For the most part, I would say 95% of the special effects, uh, so they kind of hide their budget by doing that. You know what I mean?
No, no, absolutely. And it ends up working in the film's favor, much like, Jaws, the shark never fucking worked. And it ended up being such like what made the movie work so well is you don't see it. I think this something similar is going on here where maybe they didn't have the money to show like all the gruesome murders, but I think it works better to just
Yeah.
see a photo of the aftermath and leave the rest to your imagination. Like when you see a photo of the kid all burnt up, that's really disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is very much on brand for these true crime shows where it's police photography, like crime scene photography is shown, these like horrific murders. And it's jarring. Like they cut to these scenes and it's kind of brilliant, I think, the way they did it. The guy's like, all right, I have this amount of money. This is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna have any CGI. We're just gonna use practical, effects to make all this stuff. I mean, there is some CGI towards the end, but like it's not, it's very well done though. But like,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, there's little flourishes of CGI, you know.
Yeah, I think just seeing like a quick photo or whatever, that was the way to go with this 100%. It was the right decision to make. I'm not sure that a real true crime documentary would show such gruesome images. I think they would be censored.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a minor nitpick. Although I gotta say, at one point there's a photo of a dead dog and the dog's body is blurred out. Like they should have they showed a burnt up kid and like people like drained, but the dog gets fucking censored. I loved that. I loved that detail, man. That made me laugh.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That was fucking great.
Yeah. So let's see here. Like, one of the things is the red herring with the guy who they thought was the murderer, whose like truck got stolen. He was like the real super Inland Empire guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And again, and like I watch a lot of those shows like First 48
Yeah,
and police body cam footage. Don't ask why, I just do. And I thought that aspect like that really felt like a real like almost felt like a real interrogation. Like
yeah.
his shifty sort of man, like I swear it's not me, man. I swear. Listen, like it was all very, very believable.
Like he's innocent, but he seems guilty as hell, man. Like
He,
he's saying the truth that he's telling seems like a lie. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't even know the van was stolen. And
It was gone for like a week or whatever. But then you imagine him just like, so you mean to tell us you didn't leave your house for an entire week? And they're like, of course he didn't, man. He was probably smoking meth like every single, he was up for that entire week, you know?
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. That was great. I loved that part, and it just really added to the authenticity of the whole thing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so that guy they find out that he's not the guy. All right. And I don't remember how they actually connect the well, there's a series of notes, like AKA similar to a la David Berkowitz, Son of Sam. There's like these like scrawled notes and they're all signed Mr. Shiny, like with all this like cryptic stuff written on there about, he has like 13 murders to commit or something like that.
Yeah, 10 to go, and you see the letters, and like they add in this like creepy computer voice to read Mr. Shiny's notes, which again, I was like, I don't know that an actual true crime documentary would use that, computer voice, but whatever. It's effective, it's creepy.
Yeah, so that's, but it works, I think,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally. It does work. But it just jumped. I was like, oh, I'm not sure that that was, completely believable, but whatever. At that point, I was on board.
The another good murder was a good murder was um the young lady that gets murdered in her home, but he burns her boyfriend's face off with a blowtorch.
Yes, that was unsettling.
Yeah, so
Collateral damage he was
he's
basically. He
collateral
was,
damage. Yeah,
yeah. In one of the few special effects, you do see an interview with him, and like you see the photo of him and his wife smiling and happy, and then it cuts to him smoking a cigarette, face all fucking burnt up. It was and he's like, "What the fuck do you want to know? What do you want to know? I'm all fuck." Like just like his this guy's life has just been destroyed by this guy.
and he used to be a teacher, and he's talking about how what is he gonna teach people looking like this, and
Right? Yeah, yeah, man. It was unsettling to say the least.
and then randomly this he starts bleeding.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, one of the few effects. But again, I thought I mean, like, it was one of those things. If you were flipping through the channels and you saw that, I would probably for a little while believe it to be a real, you know, documentary.
yeah, and then like he cuts away. He's like, all right, I'm done. Like give me my money. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, give me my money. Yeah, exactly. Like
yes,
again, very small part, but like, you get a sense of what this guy's life is like from just, a few minutes of screen time.
yeah. Um, so then this is when they sort of start closing in a little bit more on who Mr. Shiny actually is. So there's another victim they find in a pool. Um, the pool is like surrounded by barbed wire, and there's a a large number of leeches that basically the guy basically died by like death by paper cuts. Like these tiny leeches were just like feeding on this guy over a period of time.
Yeah, yeah, that was again very Seven-esque.
Yeah. There's a lot of parallels, a lot of that sort of seven references to this.
But this is when you start to see some more cosmic elements creeping into it that the leech bite has is very similar to the triangular pattern that you keep seeing associated with these murders. They
Yeah.
dole out that information really slowly throughout the whole movie.
And it's also, yeah, it's really cool how this, and once again, it's like, it's Lovecraftian. Like if you read like Call of Cthulhu, it's not the information sort of like there are a lot of similarities with this in Call of Cthulhu, and we'll get to that, where there's like you find something, you put this together, it builds a bigger picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, this was very Lovecraftian. I thought halfway through, I was like, oh, I see why Mike likes this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, an interesting way to do Lovecraft too.
Yeah, totally. Just when you think that there's only one way or, one possible way of doing this. Yeah, I find that some of the more effective cosmic horror films are these types of films, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. This is one of the better ones to come
Yeah.
along in a long time.
Like all the Benson and Moorhead films are similar to this too,
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So this is the killer contacted this guy through some sketchy like internet like hookup site, and
Oh, right. Yeah, like Craigslist or something.
yeah, yeah, they show the ad and it looks like a Craigslist ad.
Yeah.
Does that still exist anymore?
Oh my God, I hope so. I mean, I used to work with a guy that would like hook up with people from Craigslist. This was in like, the Tinder era. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's something like that is still out there, I would imagine.
Probably. So
Yeah.
he was strictly desktop based with that stuff.
Yeah, he was a strange guy to say the least.
Yeah. So they track it down. They narrow it down to this one particular, cafe that has Wi-Fi, like public Wi-Fi signal. So they stake this place out. Yeah, but this is actually, where the guy that they suspected was the killer. This Victor Shamaz guy is the one
Right.
that they actually they come up on him and they find out that he's not actually the killer.
Right. The meth dude. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's how they okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
but they do find the killer's real name is Leslie Sykes. Okay, and they trace this back to a house that's rented that some out in the middle of nowhere. And this was weird because it's like the symbols painted above the doorway, and the house is virtually like unlived in, but he obviously lives there.
Right. There's just like jars of milk and like a chair and a bed, like very, very sparse. And I find stuff like that very unnerving, like liminal spaces where like you walk in, like something is off. You can't put your finger on it, but you know something's not quite right.
Yeah. Um. So Sykes disappears for like 20 years. Okay. But he left behind, in his notes, he references to Caliban, and of course, though they mention this too, the Caliban is like a character in the Shakespearean, that name comes up a lot in the occult, you know.
Hmm.
Um, they find out that in that time that he was gone, he moved to Jerusalem, and traveled through several different countries in the Middle East and in Europe, studying,
I,
you know, different practices and all this other stuff, occult stuff.
I would like a whole movie about that.
Dude, yeah, and once again, this is like very similar to a character in like a Lovecraft story, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine like, like a found footage version of that, just about this guy's travels through like Jerusalem. I think well, he's in Syria and that he ends up in Italy and then Germany. Like that's a whole movie right there. And it's in this, it's just a little part of it.
Yeah.
And I really like the dude we meet from Germany, the bookseller. I loved that whole
Oh
part.
yeah. Yeah.
So
So
good.
so now we're starting to get into the Call of Cthulhu land, okay? Because there's this book, this guy who's like an owner of an obscure occult bookstore, and Sykes has contacted him about trying to buy a copy of this very obscure text that that's basically has like it's a witchcraft text with some incantations, all this stuff in it.
Hmm.
Um,
And I like this German bookseller talking about his encounter with this guy. It's all a little funny if you've been to Germany and like this is exactly like a dude I would talk to like on tour in Germany.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I
Yeah,
see what you're
and
saying.
yeah, again, great acting from this guy.
Yeah. So lo and behold, his shop gets there's like a break-in, and of course the book is missing.
Right, he knows all, and of course I knew who it was right away. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
The book is called Scriptures of Valil, and um, in my reckoning, I've never heard of that book, so I don't know if it's real or not.
I was going to ask. If anyone would know, I figured it would be you. So
Well, if anyone would know, it would be Carl Hikera. So I'm going to ask Carl, and
yes, I'm curious to know this is a real book.
I'm sure like a quick internet search would have sufficed, but Carl would be able to tell us if it was real or not. Um, so yeah, that's I don't know if that's real or not. If it actually exists or if it's some some reference to it in some like pre-Christian ideology or religion. So I've never heard of it. So, that's not to say doesn't exist. So they're just putting that out there.
I like the detail too that he's like, I just want to know what happened to the book.
Yeah. And it's so, here we have a secret occult book, like the Necronomicon or, possibly Vermis de Mysterious, one of those like occult texts that have all these different demonic incantations and ways of conjuring beings and stuff like that. That's starting to like, come into the storyline now too.
Yeah, again, this is such a slow burn with the info. There's no big like exposition dump. Like even when they interview a guy from Sykes's past, like it's not just an exposition dump. You know what I mean? It's little details here and there. Like he went into a cave, this something happened. He reads like he was obsessed with some quote. Again, metal music is brought up.
Oh yeah, actually this is yeah, so this dude they used to hang out together and he was talking about how he's like, he never was able to hook up with chicks or anything like that. He
Yeah,
mentioned that.
big surprise.
And then so apparently Sykes had this experience out in some cave somewhere. And when he came back to hang out with his friend, he said, Shambler from the stars,
Mm,
right? And he's like, oh, it's just, it's metal as fuck, man, And
yeah.
so now some of you guys might know that Shambler from the Stars is a Robert Bloch short story that
Hmm.
was published in Weird Tales. And Lovecraft wrote a sequel to that called Haunter of the Dark. So there you go.
Yes. There you
And
go.
there's an obvious nod to two of the masters of weird fiction and cosmic horror. So yeah,
There you go.
exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, there's more afoot. Like for the first half of this film, you think it's some whack job murdering people and just painting like weird symbols in their houses, right? But now you see there's some overarching purpose to all this stuff, and some of the other stuff that you find out in the past makes more sense. Like he's talking about, I think he has to do 13 murders, right?
I think it was
And
14.
14, some number that I forgot. It's
Yeah.
there's a number that he has to achieve with his murders.
Yeah.
And each one of these is bringing him closer and closer to this event. And then, of course, there's the Caliban statue that's found too. Well, that's not found till much later, but since we're talking about Lovecraft, I wanted to might as well talk about it now. So anyone who's read Call of Cthulhu knows that they find a Cthulhu statue. There's several of these statues that they find in these various places, and
Yes.
they're miniature too. They're not these massive statues. And this Caliban statue is these like tiny little statue, which is like made me think immediately of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. Also very creepy. Like if I saw that in someone's house, I would be deeply unnerved.
Yeah, it looks like the very similar to that leech. Like
Yes.
you see some footage of this leech and the way that it opens into this like triangular, sketchy mouth with these suckers. So there's a very, Cthulhu-esque vibe to the creature too, to this god or whatever, Caliban, whatever it is.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I mean, in a lesser movie, there might be like an exposition dump about all this, but again, like it just keeps moving. And usually it's these movies as they go along and you learn more, the more you know, the more disappointing it kind of gets. But this got more and more interesting every little bit of information I learned. Like I was never ahead of this movie. It was always guessing to the very end, like what the fuck is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and the same thing that you said is what I love too. They don't explain anything. They just like put it out there for you to piece it together.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even in the end, like, you're left with a lot of questions in the end, which I love.
Yeah, definitely. So there's like some other murders.
He has a couple murders caught on tape.
Oh, that
Yeah.
this one was actually kind of funny, where like they
Oh
find
yeah.
this like DVD, and there's like this pounding like techno music playing, right? And he executes this guy in this video. Now, where'd that music come from?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Was he like listening to that while he was murdering the guy,
Yeah,
or was that?
I had to think it was like to cover up the screams or something like that. This character doesn't strike me as someone to be in like into like European techno, but like maybe he picked it up while he was over there. Like I don't know, but again, it's a nice detail. Like it's not something you'd ever think of, but it's there. It's there just enough to notice it. And I loved it. Like I loved that. I was like, oh yeah, he's probably trying to cover up the screams or like it's something psychological to fuck with this guy before he kills him. I don't know, but it's there,
Yeah.
and I love it. And yeah, this guy, he kind of put himself into this guy's, plan by almost catching him. We see that he has a few mishaps. He tries to kill a guy and he gets attacked by a dog. So he has a backup plan to kill this guy who works at the donut shop, and we get a glimpse of him in his creepy mask.
Yeah.
Man,
And
I love that mask.
the mask was good. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
really good.
Uh,
And this is like one of like two or three, like three murders that are caught on tape. And um, again, I think it was the right move to not show most of the murders, but the ones we do get feel pretty convincing and gruesome and disturbing.
so there's also some other footage cut in of interviews with one guy was a scientist, and he talks about how the the murders are all, it's culminating during for this like planetary occurrence, which happens once like every 800 years.
Yes.
So one of the final murders, the final piece of this puzzle is Sykes kills this couple and he kidnaps their infant and runs out to the woods, in the San Bernardino National Forest. So now there's this manhunt. They're looking for him. At the same time, we cut to we have some interviews with these young women who are camping out there. Uh, you know, at the same night that this whole manhunt is going on.
Right.
So he puts together this pyre, and it looks like he's going to try to burn the baby, which in this film it wouldn't put it, I could see them doing something like that in this movie, to be honest.
No, I was fully ready for that baby to fucking get toasted. I fully expected that.
Yeah, so they're just trying to time this whole thing with this planetary alignment, So now, here we go. We got rituals, we got this Caliban entity, and I'm not even sure if that's the name of the entity he's trying to conjure up, actually. Um, Asragor actually is the name of the
As
entity.
yeah, that's yeah. I couldn't really. I had to watch this on my phone, so I couldn't really
Yeah.
take notes.
So now also, as you guys know, if you read Lovecraft, that Azathoth is like the, nuclear chaos at the center of the universe. So, once again, I have to believe that this is some connection with the Lovecraftian mythos of the elder gods and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so he's trying to conjure this cosmic being, that has to do with this planetary alignment and these series of rituals to put this all in motion.
Mhm.
But the cops show up, they take him out. The kids, they save the baby. At the same time, one of the young ladies starts having these like seizures that are kind of
Yes.
happening concurrently to all this activity.
Yeah, you see some sort of red light in the sky, and all the cameras kind of glitch out, which we saw in one of the previous murders of the makeup influencer. Like
Yeah,
whenever this guy's around, like the cameras sort of glitch out.
yeah. Um, so that's kind of the climax of the movie. But then we have the falling action where we're debriefing with Kirby and Taylor, and they're kind of reflecting back on the murder. Sykes, as a supernatural maniac that's like out there, the letters and all this other stuff. And Kirby talk Sykes, I'm sorry, Taylor talks about how she didn't, yeah, I don't believe any of this stuff. I don't think anything was really happening, you know. And So, but they need both of them say that they don't really believe, but you can see in their expressions that they do believe that something happened that night.
That's interesting you say that. I wasn't convinced that the female officer really, but she, same shit, different day.
Yeah,
She's kind of over it, more dismissive, but you can tell in Kirby, this really got to him.
yeah,
And like this is going to become something that continues to define his life, I think. And you see that in the post-credit sequence a little bit. I don't know if you knew there was a post-credit
yes.
sequence.
I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a post-credit sequence where, like Jeff mentioned, where we see Kirby uh, using his cell phone trying to find the cave. Where Sykes, talked about having his experience. And he's trying to like ferret out whether or not this is true or not.
Right, because I mean, he leaves a note, so the female detective says, like he had an inkling that something would go wrong. It's like she doesn't see that this is all part of his plan. Like I was curious if you thought he executed his plan successfully, though he doesn't get to finish his last sacrifice, but it seems like he got what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, um, I would say that he did enough to bring this entity to cross over into this dimension. Because like
Yes.
obviously something happened that night. You see the lights, you see that other woman had like a seizure, and that's the thing, man. It's like that's like my favorite part of the film is that we don't really see the final outcome of all this stuff. We see that the Sykes's trajectory as come to a beginning and or come to an end, but it's still unknown whether or not what the result of all that stuff is. But there is a hint that he was more or less successful in what he was trying to do, and some entity has been unleashed into the world.
Yes. Yeah. Like it is very like vague as to even what his, plan was. It's never quite spelled out, and you're not really sure if it was successful or not. Um, in true Lovecraftian fashion, the detective Kirby is never the same after this. He's
Yes.
seen a glimpse into something beyond, and he's not the same person.
Yep.
And I really loved that detail. So Lovecraftian.
Yeah, it's great. He's the occult detective in this story, and
Yes.
it's awesome. And I thought it had all the elements I dug, and like I didn't really. I mean, when we got the screener, I read a little bit about it. I knew this movie was coming out, or and I knew of it. It looked fun to watch, like it looked like it was going to be good. But
Yeah.
I literally thought it was just going to be like a serial killer film,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And just we got so much more out of it, though.
So the question I have for you, do you think something supernatural was guiding and protecting um Mr. Shiny?
Yes.
Because yeah, I was thinking that it's never explicitly spelled out, but this guy is like literally doing things like getting away with shit where it'd be like impossible.
Yeah.
And yet he is like they even mentioned how bold he is, like disguised as like an orderly in a hospital filled with cops looking for him, and he's just strolling around like
Yeah.
without a care in the world.
There's scenes where they look directly at him, and
Yeah,
he just slips by. I think that, yeah, I think that his when his friend had talked to Kirby and Taylor, and he was telling him about how when he had his experience in the cave, he came back as a different person. I think that, you know, something maybe he found that idol down there, you know what I mean? Like that little statue, you know, and that
right.
and if you read Call of Cthulhu, once again, it's like, the people who find those idols, they're changed. So it's like that's kind of the hit the beginning of his trajectory on this whole thing to bring this elder god into our reality.
Yeah, he was chosen. Like
Yeah.
this wasn't something he, like a crazy person obsessed with. So like, yeah, his life was forever changed after that cave, and he had to do this.
And once again, man, most not a lot of action takes place on screen, but it seems like a lot of action takes place on screen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like very few, only a couple murders. It's really all like what you come up with in your mind. Like is really the majority of the movie. A picture here, a picture there, but it's really just you think about it, and so in your mind, yeah, you feel like it's more action packed than it actually is.
Yeah, and I thought as a movie, as like a film telling a story, it was incredibly successful. I thought it was really, really well done on that level.
100%, man. Like all like like the old footage from the 90s and the news footage, the body cam stuff, it all felt very believable. The interviews with even like, smaller parts, like the guy explaining the, astrology part of it, when he's like, oh, my wife would kill me for, describing it like that. Like little details like that, like make it so much more authentic and believable. It doesn't feel like people just spitting out dialogue. These feel like real people.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, so that's it. What do you give it as a score, man?
Well, this was my biggest surprise of the year. Uh, a top six for sure. 4.5.
Oh, wow, cool. Right on. I loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely it's a contender though for me. I don't know if it's quite top six, but it's a contender for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I had no expectations for this whatsoever. And even like I said, like in the beginning, I thought, okay, like, whatever, it's only an hour and a half. And then in the end, I was like, man, this could have gone on for another hour and I would have been hooked. Really loved it, man. I really think like this. I hope this gets a lot of attention at some point. I don't feel like many people don't know about this movie at all.
Yeah, well, guys, go out and check this out, man. It's after you listen to this, this is definitely something that we believe in, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. This is one of the best horror movies of the year, and the biggest surprise so far. And I absolutely loved this. I hope this ends up on Shutter or something. Like I really think the film is good and it will find its audience.
Yeah,
Something this good always does.
yeah. I think this will probably end up on Shutter, you know.
Yeah, I hope so. It definitely needs
Definitely
some
on
eyes on it.
definitely on Tubi.
Yeah, I think everything ends up on Tubi.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a real fun one, and yeah, go see it, guys. Pay the whatever, $6 to rent on Amazon. It's totally worth it.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. And we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Later.